made a policy or regulation that in our jurisdiction, no app company can take more than 18%. I'm making reference to Kenya. In Kenya, you cannot take 18%. So when you meet your colleagues, comrade from Kenya, and you ask of off trip, it will be very difficult for them to tell you that here, off trips does happen. It doesn't happen because 30%, 25% are not being taken from them. So if we really want to sustain this business, I think it wouldn't be out of place for our government to also come out with such regulations. That in Ghana, if you want to operate as a foreign company, you do not take beyond 15%. In so doing, you will not hear drivers from Kumasi telling you, let's go off trip, or let's do away with the charges the app is giving you. Let's go by my own charges. When it happens, what he said comes in, the app companies will fold off. Again, I cannot be working on a platform for the past 10 years. I do not have any insurance policy. There's nothing for me when I'm involved in an accident. It is because they are shielding with that phrase called a contract of service. That's where they are hiding themselves to exploit the driver. Since this program has started, I believe all these things will be dealt with so that there will be some clarity, one, in their algorithms as to how their price metrics are being done, where you, at the point they refer to as an independent, at the point they refer to you as a partner, do not have a say as to how their price metrics are done, how their algorithm works, especially when they search. That's where they take advantage of drivers. And again, if you want to sustain this business, Kenya and South Africa, upon completing a trip, 2 to 3% of whatever the driver or the courier rider is earning is put aside as net, or something to take care of health, especially when you are engaged in accidents. A rider cannot be working on your platform doing deliveries. You don't provide helmets. You don't provide any shield. So when they are involved in an accident, it is the union or the association he or she found himself that has to contribute to make sure their brother or their sister is back to the road. It doesn't happen anywhere. At least if you are taking 25 to 30%, some things has to be taken care of. And I'm not saying I agree with them taking 25% to 30%. These things doesn't sustain the business. These are the realities. Because it will be difficult for me sitting here when I make 2,000 and I'm asked to pay only 15% as commission. And then when my brother requests from Domi Pillar 2 to, let's say, La Paz, and I will tell him, oh, let's go off trip. So some things on their apps has to be clearly defined so that we can all work in hand to make this business sustainable. Thank you very much.
So I agree perfectly with him on the binary statute on gig workers, right? A binary statute, the act needs to be modernized to fit them because now it defines employee, employer, it needs to be modernized. Now, and it makes it difficult for some of these conversations to be had, and that's why I keep pushing for the legal framework. I want to make an important point, right? For example, at Shark Express, we provide full insurance, comprehensive insurance for all our riders. We don't take more than 10%. We fall between 5 to 10%. But Ghanaians have high affinity for foreign brands. Why would you leave Shark Express? It's present in 9 regions. We have 9 branches across the country. They would rather prefer to work for the multinational than to come work with us. When they come work with us, they put up all forms of attitude, right? We, the local companies, can help them fight this. And we see it happening. They complain to us. We are also limited in our own ways. We are forced to go the legal way and to factor in some of these gaps to protect them. We have insurance, we have protective gears, we have all these incentives to drive. But just because we are local force or local man, they don't want to work with us. So the legal frame should really look into how the exploitation is happening. And we need to move it from the binary statute to a more of a triangular to cover all the riders. Just to add it.
Thank you so much for a very engaging conversation. Unfortunately, we don't have any questions for you. I keep refreshing the page and no questions. And our time is up. But just before you leave, just one thing, like in 15 seconds, would you say that we should take away from here as we are going away from here, thinking of how to regulate the platform economy? So I'll start from you, and then
Okay. So I think what I would say to our content creators, let's continue engaging so we can shape our regulatory and policy environment. We've had just in April this year, the Bank of Ghana governor had the opportunity to meet some of the creators, and they shared some of the concerns and challenges that they have in terms of receipt of funds. And so we are committed to sort of working towards those. And I've also already mentioned some of the interventions that we are putting in place to ensure that payment is received easier. So let's keep engaging. Thank you.
Yes, let's keep engaging, but we need to move fast. And I've heard it on this platform severally that we are slow to action, we are always late. The gig economy is growing, and with the increasing data penetration in Ghana, with over 24 million people on smartphones, the gig economy will grow. We don't need to play catch up. We need to set the pace. We need to be ahead. We need to be able to predict it and work towards it. And we must do that locally. We must tailor whatever is happening there to our local needs. We must shape it. And I believe that if we work together as an ecosystem, it will help. And for the courier industry, we have the potential to create more than 5 million jobs in this country. Right? So we need to really work hard. Labor force should do more job. The Labor Society, Labor Commission, they should actually leave their office and come to the field. That's where they'll meet us for us to have the engagement.
Yeah, for me, I think the government, the platforms, and then the workers all have a responsibility, collective responsibility towards moving this industry and formalizing it. Now, the government especially has about 80% of that responsibility because they really need to provide that necessary environment, attractive environment, because if you look at the issues that we are experiencing in this country, it's systemic. He mentioned that they rely on cloud servers outside of Ghana, right? What that means is that our data is sitting in other countries, which is not right. Ideally, we should be able to have these data centers located here in Ghana. But the question is, do we have the resources to power these? Do we have the expertise to build these? Okay. There are a number of investors out there who are willing and more than able to invest in these areas. So the right legal framework from the government is crucial to drive it. And then the platform workers also need to treat the workers, the gig workers, in a very good way. Okay, provide them with the necessary materials, resources to help them develop. And the workers also have that responsibility towards the platforms to ensure that they are contributing their quota and they are doing the right thing and not cutting corners in order to collectively grow this space.
Okay, thank you very much. Somewhere 2019, 2020, in the midst of the COVID, we all learned something. And the current happenings in South Africa, I think it should be a wake-up call for our government. I'm talking about what my colleague said, that as a local app, the kind of suffering and what they are going through. Years back, when Yandex in Ghana called Yango had wanted to move into Russia, when Uber had wanted to move into Russia, the Russian government came into reality with what entails as to how much the country could gain from that sector. So they decided that instead of letting Uber work in Russia, they will promote Yandex, called in Ghana here as Yango. So if really our government wants to help promote our local app companies, it should be a decision. Like we are all pleading that mining site should be given to a Ghanaian. I'm for that. I should be blunt. Let's promote our own so that the monies, the millions of dollars these people are taking outside the country will stay in the country and create other jobs. And then I want to tackle a bit about security issues on our platform. I'm sure oftentimes you hear that a driver, a rider has been stabbed, his car has been taken away. It's because we are insecure on the platform. The security system on the platform is only taking care of riders, that is passengers. So coming into forth, this digital act that they want to implement or add to our labor laws, it should factor or they should consider the security aspects when it comes to these things. Because when I act as a driver and take away your phone or any item or assault you physically, I'm easily to be identified. But what's happening to our colleagues? When they are physically assaulted, stabbed, or their items taken from them, how often do the app companies release the info of these passengers to the security agencies? It hardly happens. So please, let's look at this whole thing holistically, right? The issue of ride-hailing shouldn't be added to that of content creation. There's a difference. Although we are all working at digital platforms, but there's difference in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. You can take your seats and
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be leaving here very soon. I know a lot of my students are here very tired. They are here mainly because I made the point that they dare not leave because that is where the compulsory question will be coming from. And it is very important because the compulsory question is coming from this discussion. So without wasting much time, this is one of the most interesting discussions, but we won't hold you for long. The panel session has been reduced, but it's going to be very, very intensive. We have two panelists joining us online, but I'll leave the microphone for Mr. Francis Ontoin Esquire, a lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Law, who will help us with the moderation.
Thank you to you. I'm happy to be here in this maiden launch. I know everybody is already tired, so I wouldn't take too much of your time. I would invite the panelists for this session The first panelist is Dr. Ernest Ako, Dean-elect, University of Cape Coast Faculty of Law. Is Dr. Ako joining online, or is he here with us? I would also invite Dr. Kweku Bwedu, lecturer, University of Ghana School of Law. A round of applause for Dr. Kweku Bwedu, lecturer, University of Ghana School of Law. Thank you very much for making the time to be here with us. Next is Mr. Joshua Chermantin, Esquire. He's a Doctor of Laws candidate at University of Johannesburg. And I understand he's joining us online, so I believe the IT will soon show his face. We also have the last person on the list, Mr. Desmond Israel Esquire.
Okay.
Oh, Professor, I'm sorry. He's the head of department, Gimpa Law School. Thank you. Thank you very much for making the time to join us here. Yes, I can see Mr. Chermantin here joining us. Joshua, you're welcome. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thanks for having me.
Very well. Thank you for coming. And I think we have Dr. Ernest Aku also joining us via Zoom or Teams, Dean-elect, University of Cape Coast Faculty of Law. So,
yes, I'm here. Thank you very much. Happy to be here with you.
Thank you for coming. So the purpose of this, of course, as academics, it's a critical discussion on policy, law, and development. I know that we've already had so much to digest from other panelists. And so we'll look at what our law professors will have for us as we train future lawyers in the course of this discussion. A round of applause for all the panelists. Thank you. This morning, I know I was here when Justice Poamang mentioned that as academics, we should not be scared to criticize judgments. And I want to believe that even though this is not a journal where we are publishing papers, I also want to encourage my panelists to feel free. I know we've always been so, but of course, to feel free to say, contribute to the discourse. My first question will go to Mr. Chermantin. Of course, I want to start with those online before we can move forward. Now, Mr. Chermantin, if you can hear me, can you say hi? So,
hi, I can hear you.
Very well. Clear. So yes, when you look at Ghana's AI strategy, the aim, of course, is to leverage artificial intelligence for, of course, national benefit, right? Now, from an academic standpoint, what do you think are the main strengths and shortcomings in the current AI approach? And what do you think we should, of course, prioritize to promote some all-inclusive, development rather than widening existing inequalities? For those who don't know, I know Mr. Chermantin is a researcher in labor law, so his doctoral thesis is in labor law, so there's a lot to learn from Mr. Chermantin. So over to you, Mr. Chermantin.
Okay, thank you very much, Anthony. I think that largely Ghana's AI strategy, is in sync, is timely and relevant. It is an attempt for Ghana to be part of the broad global efforts for countries to be, part of this leverage on AI and the benefits and opportunities. So the objective, the original intent, it's obviously cannot be questioned. But a closer look at the document, I mean, show certain shortcomings that has to be addressed. But first, it is important for me to, highlight the positives. Of course, if you look at the targeted areas for AI adoption in the policy, they have listed agriculture, health, and all those things. Those are very important. I mean, in terms of our country, which is a developing economy, we are not structured like the developed countries, and therefore leveraging on artificial intelligence to promote productivity, to ensure efficiency and speedy services is something that is in the right direction. However, I think that the document, one of the shortcomings of the document is the fact that it lacks ownership. And I will explain what ownership means. That what is the Ghanaian idea of AI? What is the Ghanaian reflection of artificial intelligence? Right from the 8th definition and machine learning, you realize that it is a lot of the borrowings that we've had from elsewhere, of course, like Singapore and Egypt model. In fact, those are expressly stated in the document. That is the borrowings. But there is the need for the strategy to have the Ghanaian content, the Ghanaian reflection of what the Ghanaian imagination of AI should be, and not necessarily an import of maybe what others have experienced AI or what we think the global effort or zest is on AI. That is something which I think it is lacking. The other thing is that you and I mean, this panel is largely legal. We know the backlog of courts and all those things, and we think that justice was not part of the AI adoption pillars. I don't know. I would brief for them, whether it's because it was purely an executive action in terms of policy. That's the reason they didn't add the judiciary. But the AI has a great potential to clear all these backlogs. I mean, I can give an example. You and I have been to courts where you only drive distances to head to a court and you are being told the judge is not sitting. Which, if there was an app, which there should be in 2026, you will be able, you and your clients can easily know that hey, the court is not sitting today. This is just a few examples, and by the way, example of some of the things which I think that we should broaden the spectrum of the AI adoption to places like the justice delivery system, access to justice in terms of amendment of our civil procedure and all those things. So yes, it has potential. I think it lacks the Ghanaian identity. The spectrum can be broadened in order for it to encompass almost all facets of our economic life. But to laser focus on the issue of work, then I'll allow other panelists come in. I think we will develop it as we go along. I think also that it also lacks the issue of the imagination of work, because concepts like AI professional are in there without exact clarity what that means. Concepts like, and it is very optimistic. I mean, that AI can produce jobs. You and I and a few of the panel that have traveled outside know that AI is actually destroying jobs. And the revolution this time is different. And we don't see a policy direction towards an insistence of humans in the loop, which making sure that AI should be an augmenter and not necessarily a replacement of human labor. Yes, in Ghana and in Africa, there is slow attrition, and that's the reason we think that AI is going to produce jobs and is going to, open heavens to us. But the truth of the matter is that it's going to destroy more jobs than it produces with the pace at which it is going. And there is a need for us to look at that. To give an example, then I give chance to other panelists. is, for example, now we have new apps with Gemini, with Claude AI, with ChatGPT. I don't need a graphic design. That is a job lost. With Sono, which is what do you call it, a music app, you can literally have no talent and compose music. And these are serious things that I think that the AI strategy broadly doesn't really address. And even if it does, it is quite marginal. And these are things I think that we as academics must give some reflection and at the same time hone in on the research on that and submit it to the policy actors for immediate action. And last but not least, I think also that the AI strategy is also lacking in terms of urgency. I mean, the AI revolution, we are talking about the fierce agency of now. It appears to be a wish list of some future projection, things that we want to do, but we are talking about the action is happening now. I mean, by this time, all universities in Ghana, AI studies should be a university requirement. Nobody should graduate 2026, without mastering the act of using leveraging AI in terms of his academic career or in terms of business or in terms of whatever they have to do. So these are my initial comments. I'll give chance to the other panelists to comment.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joshua. When I hear the fierce agency of now, then I remember Joshua back then in Commonwealth Hall when he was contesting for SRC presidency. I would agree that, the judiciary for some time I've seen, courts sitting using, virtual hearings and all. So I think we are gradually getting there. But I also hear when people say that AI has come to stay, which I agree. And so if you do not master AI, maybe you'll be replaced by the one who has mastered AI virtually. Dr. Enesako, you train future lawyers, and of course they are to be job seekers. How should the education system adapt?
Okay, thank you very much, Anthony. I wish to associate myself with the comments made by Joshua earlier. One key point which he makes is that the AI strategy of Ghana lacks a Ghanaian idea of AI. And that is where we legal academics and legal scholars come in. And I'll start from the point of view that we need to decolonize AI itself, because artificial intelligence or AI is entangled in colonial histories, racial logics, and power structures. And so colonialism divided us into first, second, and third worlds. Now we have the global north and the global south. And like Joshua mentioned in his submission, you see that the words or the phrases or the provisions in the AI strategy is largely borrowed from other jurisdictions. Now we've sat through from morning, listened to what has been presented before us today. And I especially enjoyed the presentation or the panel discussion by the gig workers and the last one, the one before this. And then when you listen to what they said, some of the things they said, like $13 million leaving the shores of Ghana annually. It might be even more. What has come to mind? It talks about colonialism, where structures of exploitation like the rail lines, etc., were constructed to ensure that our gold, our minerals are exported out of this country. So this is a repetition of what colonialism, racial logics, and then power structures do. And so for us as academics, the starting point is decolonizing AI. And by decolonizing AI, what we mean? It doesn't simply mean adding diversity or addressing bias. No, it requires a fundamental critique and undoing of the colonial and racial logics that underpin the AI world. So where do we start from? We start from the point of view to say that there are culturally diverse ways of knowing, of being, and understanding intelligence. And so you hear some of the gig workers say that For 8 months, they were fighting a simple issue. Does this content contain vulgar or bad language? And you can hear the F word, which is okay in American sense. But because the content they have produced is in Twi, the content owners are at a loss whether or not it contains something vulgar. And so for that issue alone, it takes about 8 months to resolve. And you see how the narration shows the exploitation of the labor in Ghana. So this is colonialism reimagined. And we must go at all lengths to decolonize the curriculum. So to begin with, we don't even have, like Joshua said, in this day and age, every graduate from a university in Ghana should be going away with knowledge of AI. But the truth on the ground is that many universities, and even when the universities have policies in place, many faculties are lacking in an AI policy or an approach or courses in AI that we teach students. And so if we decolonize the curricula, or if we come to an acceptance that we need to decolonize AI and have a Ghanaian identity and have a Ghanaian AI sovereignty, then we must include digital education, digital rights education into our curricula. We must promote interdisciplinary learning, and then we must also focus on the teachers, teacher training and upskilling of legal academics. Otherwise, then we are lost out in the AI future. So I would rest my case here and then allow others to make a contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Enesaku. Dr. Buedu, I know Dr. Buedu's views when it comes to AI, and so I'd want to hear from him before I come to Desmond. Dr. Buedu, AI and ethics. What do you think? What is the future of academia in relation to, of course, labor rights, job security, and workplace safety? I know I don't want us to limit it to just the classroom, but your views on that.
Yeah, actually, the reason I wanted Desmond to take it is that I suspect that among the four, I'm the anti-AI here. So I'm going to spoil the party. So that's why I wanted him to have his say first. Unless if you're also anti-AI.
So I'm not anti-AI per se, but I'm a strong critic of the policy from 2013 version to the current version, and I've written copiously about it. I've sat on panels, I've bashed it to the worst. So I thought you might probably have a different opinion, and I'll be the party pooper. So let's kill the party then.
Okay. So please put on your seatbelts. I am anti-AI. And my position is that it's hype. It's hype, it's exaggeration. We are promising you, I am an AI engineer. My master's degree in engineering was in AI. Graduated 2000, 26 years ago. We are producing something. But I would say that we are producing cats and we are promising you tigers. That is AI. Now, anybody who talks about AI and what AI would do, ask that person, can you show me one evidence? There's none. They will always talk about the future and what AI is going to do in the future. All they will do is cite ChatGPT. Now, when ChatGPT gives you a page, it has a message that says, be careful. This contains errors. But we ignore that message and assume that AI is this spirit, is this intelligence that is inhabiting computers. It is coming to solve all of our problems. That is never true. It will never be true. we have to think and work hard to solve our problems. Nobody is going to do that for us. Computers cannot think, computers cannot reason. It's all mathematics at work. I'll be brief. This is what I teach. This is what I teach. Now, there are only two problems in mathematics. Either a problem can be solved or a problem cannot be solved. There are only two problems in mathematics. When a problem can be solved, we call it tractable. If a problem cannot be solved, we call it intractable. So if a problem can be solved, we develop an algorithm which is converted into computer code. And then we then hand it over to the computers. Computers then solve the problems. The courts have to be notified, lawyers have to be notified that a judge is not going to sit. That's a tractable problem. We know how to solve. Why we have not solved it, that's our problem. So I've given you an example of a tractable problem. An example of a tractable problem is a robot. We know how to make a robot move his legs. A tractable problem is how to operate on a patient. We know how to do it. Your spreadsheet, your email, these are all tractable problems. So we write software for it. Now, an intractable problem is a problem which human beings have no solutions to. But computer science and engineering is saying that we will tackle those kinds of problems. Because intractable problems, the human brain has a curious way of solving intractable problems. So what is an intractable problem? An intractable problem is looking into your face and predicting what you are thinking. An intractable problem is listening to you and predicting what is the next word that you are going to pronounce. That's an intractable problem. It's impossible. But the human brain has a way of looking into your face and predicting that it looks like Professor Stevens, you're hungry. Or you didn't sleep. The human brain can, and sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. A woman can look into a lady's face and say, and sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. So we want computers to be able to solve intractable problems. Therefore, we created AI. And therefore, the word artificial intelligence contrasted with human intelligence or natural intelligence. And the inherent problem with that, when you are trying to reproduce a human brain in computers, we've done very well. There's absolutely no question about that. If you are familiar with the kind of mathematics that goes with it, it's awesome. However, we have not succeeded in reproducing the human brain. Therefore, whatever we do in AI comes with errors and will always come with errors. But we don't call them errors because they are truly not errors. You can't solve these problems anyway, and I'm trying for you. So if I make a mistake, why should you blame me? So we call them hallucinations. They are not errors. It is just part of the mathematics. That's how it works. And I'll give you one example. And show, I won't take too much of your time. Show you just a little bit of the mathematics inside AI. So we want to predict a man and a woman who, after this meeting, will marry. Okay? Now, computer, we don't have a solution. Okay? So this is what ChatGPT will do. Let me take you back to your secondary school days. When this is your position, that's your position. So I take the various positions of everybody sitting here. and then I draw lines to myself, it creates an angle. Now, in mathematics, you calculate the cosine of that angle, and it tells you how close this person was sitting to the other person. So I calculate all the cosines of all the positions, and then I say, now everybody go home. I go back and do computations. And I need another conference and repeat it to see which ones are going to coincide. And with that, I then predict that A is likely to marry B using cosines. All I'm saying is that everything AI does for us is mathematics and it is science. It's no magic. So let us not be dancing saying that there's AI, it's come to solve all our problems. And in some sense, Elon Musk tells us that there's a spirit, it's a demon. There's a spirit in the box. Look, these guys are lying to us to collect our monies. Now, if there's a spirit in the box, when Elon Musk is hiring programmers, he doesn't hire pastors and madams. He hires very brilliant mathematicians. He makes them work on his AI. After working on it, they then tell us that, and we believe it, that there are spirits in the box. If there are spirits in the box, what are your children going to learn? I gave a lecture in Cape Coast University, and a computer science student shot up his hands. He said that if computers are now going to program themselves, then I don't need to study computer science. So this is the effect that we believing that AI contains some super intelligence going to have on our children, that they think they don't have to study. You see, it is more difficult to correct an essay than to write a new one. Okay? So, if you want to be very good, you need to know what the AI is telling you to be able to say that, I don't like this portion. But if all you do is take the output of the AI and submit it, and that's what my students do. You give a question, they put it in AI, generate the answer, and submit, and fail. Okay? But if you are familiar with the subject, then whatever AI tells you, you are capable of vetting it. Now, this is a machine, it's mathematics. And if you tell a computer to multiply a flower by a chair, it will get an answer. Until a human being steps in to say, no, you can't do that. So this is a reason why AI will keep giving you wrong citations. But if you don't know the subject, then you will swallow it hook, line, sinker. And my fear is it will lower our educational standards rather than improve.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned, I already know the views of Dr. Boadu, so I thought you had changed your views anyway, but I hope that nobody will call Dr. Boadu Kolo after this class. Sorry, after this, program.